the process of setting it up, putting everything together, dragging it out here, milking the cow, and then taking it back into the house and having to clean all of the parts really kind of makes it feel like it's not worth it.
Welcome back to Abundance Rising Family and the continuation of Annabelle's story. Today, we're going to take a look at our Surge bucket milker and see just how it's improved things around here. Annabelle. She's gonna learn her name. Right now she comes because she knows it's her time, it's her routine, but eventually she'll actually learn her name. So here's what we're working with. We can barely get a finger wrapped around her to be able to get any milk out. Now I'm gonna get a video of us milking Mac in contrast so you can see kind of what we've been working with. And while Mac is a very convenient cow to milk, we have milked many cows, and none of them have been built quite the way Annabelle is. So milking her, I'm barely able to squeeze this one finger to get the milk out. Here you pinch to keep the milk from going back up into the bag. So you pinch and then you milk with just one finger, which means I get very little milk out at a time. And so what has happened is I'm working out this muscle here more than my forearms. With the other cows, it's always been more of a forearm strength that I have built. This is working out hand muscles that I didn't even know I had. So we are getting stronger. It's getting faster every day. But we're back to the stage where our hands are just worn out. We're just tired after each milking session. But see, I can successfully milk her. This morning I am milking her into a dirty old bucket. This is going to the pigs. This is not for our consumption. But we're getting faster. We can successfully milk her out completely. But the poor girl has to stand here for so long. So I have a milk machine, and I just needed one part for it to get it working. So I actually ordered that part the day after we brought her home. As soon as that part gets here, I think that she will be much happier not having to stand here for quite so long, because we have to milk the cow out completely. We can't leave any milk behind. And it is taking us quite a while to do this. All right, so now I can show you the difference between the two cows. This is Mac. And compared to how much room you have to grab on front and back, I can use my entire hand. And that motion is mostly using my forearm muscles. To milk out this cow, does use some hand muscles, but it uses a whole lot more forearm than hand. The difference between this and Annabelle is a lot. And her teats, these are the teats, her teats can fill up with more milk per squeeze. So we milk her out significantly faster just by the volume of milk that we can get out with each individual squeeze. Mac is significantly easier to milk. However, she's half beef, half dairy, and doesn't produce nearly the amount of milk that Annabelle can and does. Annabelle's giving us more than twice the amount of milk that Mac can provide. But Mac is significantly easier to milk. We just had to learn some new strategies with the new cow. Today's the first day we're letting Annabelle out to eat and graze in the yard. She's a little confused right now. She's not really sure what to do with herself. And these girls are a little upset because I'm not letting them out to graze. So once she figures out that she's allowed to be out here, she should go crazy mowing down the property. Annabelle, see, there she goes. Time to explore. Mornings on the farm are always very noisy. Okay, so here we are. It is milking time yet again, twice a day, every day. I am working on getting the milk machine up and running. So we gave it a trial run about a week ago and realized that the inflations were the wrong size. They were too big for her, so I had to order new ones. No big deal, but it takes about a week for them to get here. So as of this point, we've had lots of practice hand milking Annabelle. She has actually done fantastic. We could probably just continue to hand milk her, but in lieu of a surprise that's on its way that I will be showing you guys next week, it's probably going to be better if we just go ahead and get the milk machine up and running. So my new parts came in today, and we are going to give it a trial run and see how she does. Come along and let's see if it works. You're talking to me? Well, guys, I hate to disappoint you. I was going to film our first time milking with the milk machine. Here we are, and it's too dark to show you anything. So I'll come back tomorrow and film us using the milk machine to kind of show you how that goes.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Well, we have run into one complication after another when it comes to either the milk machine or recording the use of the milk machine. The last time I was out here, as I was getting it set up, it just went from daytime to dark just like that. So I'm out here the next day, getting ready to put the cow in the stanchion and get her milked out with the milk machine. I want to show you what we've done. I have modified this milk machine. It's not how it was originally built, but we changed it because a lot of people that I know have said it makes it easier. Now I am coming to the conclusion, Annabelle's ready to be milked. I am coming to the conclusion that it's not making my life any easier. I actually think I preferred it the original way. So all of that extra work and time and money and heartache that went into changing it, I just might change it back. The cows are eager, so let's go ahead and get started. So this is the vacuum pump that we bought. And we have to modify the vacuum pump so that we can adjust the pressure and the speed at which it pulls. Well, when I brought the vacuum pump out here and got it set up last week, no matter what I did, I couldn't get the pressure to change. And so we tried all kinds of things working on the actual vacuum pump, and what it came down to was my pressure gauge was bad, so I got to order a new one of those. It came, and as soon as I put it on, all of a sudden the pressure was adjusting just fine. So I'm thankful it was just a $10 pressure gauge and not the pump itself. This is called a surge bucket milker. It is supposed to be the safest milker for cows, and it's supposed to be the only one that really doesn't do any damage to their teats. This is a regulator. What the regulator's job does is it basically pulls the suction on a rhythm, and as it rocks back and forth, it's either drawing on certain tubes or it's releasing on certain tubes, which causes that sucking motion that a calf would have on their mom. So this machine is built to mimic a calf as best as possible. So as this in here is rocking, it's either allowing the suction or it's preventing it. And so there's a constant rhythmic motion on these tubes. These are the milk tubes that the milk goes in through these inflations. The inflations have caps because a cow's udder has 4 different sections inside of it. So there's one udder, but there's 4 teats. Each teat produces its own independent supply of milk. So if one section runs dry and the rest of her is still milking out, you pull that off and you cap it to keep the suction. You cap it to keep the suction going, and then the other 3 are able to still keep milking. And one by one, you're watching the lines, and when the milk stops flowing, you take it off and you cap it until she's completely milked out. The modification that I made, these black rubber pieces used to plug straight into this machine. This machine was originally built to be hung by a belt underneath the cow. So you put a belt around the cow, you slip this onto the belt, and it is now dangling under the cow with these attached directly to the machine there, and you plug this onto the cow. Now, so many people that I know modern day say it's way better to add the longer lines so you can just put your milk machine on the ground near you and just plug the cow in. What I'm finding is these are so much harder to milk and they get so tangled up with each other that I think I'd rather figure out how to just plug this in directly under the cow. Now it's time to let Annabelle into the stanchion. Now we don't milk Mac in the mornings. She's been in lactation long enough that she doesn't need to be milked twice a day. Hey guys, where's my cow stick? So while Mac is the top cow, she is not allowed to come during the morning. Haha, nope. Usually I have a stick, but my kids stole it. And I don't hit her with the stick. I just have to have it in my hand and she knows not to come through. Interestingly enough, Annabelle has learned that if I have a stick in my hand, it is her turn to come through. We tie her up. The only reason that we do this is to keep her as close to my chair as possible so she can't sidestep all the way against that fence line out of my reach. We lock her head into place so that she cannot back out no matter what. And then she is safely locked in and ready to go. We take clean, warm, soapy water. And we make sure she's good and clean. Now this depends on the kind of day. Some days she has laid in mud or other disgusting things. And we have to really work hard to get her good and clean. Some days like today, she's actually pretty fresh. She must have been laying in either hay or grass. But we still have to make sure that she's clean and sterile before we milk her. Yeah, my stick is gone too. We need to find those things. Oh, where was it?
Over by the truck.
Thank you. Can you put it back where it goes? My cow stick is the one stick the kids are not supposed to be touching. And having that stick in my hand, all it does is tell the cows, hey, I'm not messing around today. We don't have to do anything with it. But that cow is big enough and strong enough that if she really wanted to hurt me, she could. So we always use a little bit of caution, even though we've never had a problem with them. And they're actually quite gentle. But they're still animals, and we still have to treat them with respect. So we take a little bit of iodine, and we put the iodine on after we know that there's no more dirt, mud, manure, anything on her. And we dip each of her teats in iodine. And then we just let that sit for a little bit, maybe 10 to 15 seconds, and then we'll wipe it off. And she'll be pretty sterile and good to go.
I don't know where your cow stick went.
We got the cow stick back. It was over by the truck for some reason. Interestingly enough, throughout washing her and cleaning her and everything, it actually helps her let her milk down too, which makes it easier on her later. All right, she is completely clean and free of debris and dirt, and now we have sterilized her with the iodine. We're going to come back, and I just keep a bowl here for the cats. The first few squirts out of each teat goes into the bucket or into the bowl. The reason we do this is if there is any germs, bacteria, manure, anything in the orifice where the milk comes out, those first few flushes are going to clean that out. Secondly, it gives us an opportunity to put our hands on the cow to make sure that nothing feels unusual, warm, hot, hard, and if there were any signs of mastitis, we would actually be able to see the change in the milk when it comes out. So it's just wise to always milk those first few squirts into a separate container to make sure that your cow is healthy every single day. We have never dealt with mastitis. I have not run into it, and I will still always follow this practice. And quite frankly, the cats love it too. All right, she's good and clean. She looks great. She's over there enjoying her snack. We hook up the vacuum pump to the surge bucket milker. Let's see if I can get that. So the back of the regulator has a port right here that you plug the hose into. So now the vacuum pump is hooked up to the regulator. The regulator is hooked up to the cow's tubes. I'm going to turn it on. At that point, it's going to get pretty loud. I'm going to turn it on, allow it to pressurize. Once all of the oxygen has been pulled out of this tank, the lines will begin to pressurize, and then I'll be able to put them on her and we'll start milking. Luckily, because Annabelle came from a dairy, she is quite used to these noises and the feel of the inflation. The inflation is actually the rubber piece that goes inside of this. This is the shell. Inside of the shell is the inflation. The inflation is what actually comes into contact with the cow. And there's just got to be a better way to keep these from being so tangled up. All right, let's get started. So I have a little basket here. I pull out the plug, the stopper, and just toss it in that basket. Put it on, hold it for just a second so it can repressurize, and it actually attaches to her at that point. What's going on, girl? So now it's stuck on her. I can get the next one, pull the plug. Put that one on her. There's a lot of flies today. She's pretty antsy. You can hear the change as it starts to repressurize again. One more to go, and then I'll show you guys the milk flowing. So all cows have good days and bad days, right? Just like people. One of the nice things about the milk machine is that if she's having a bad day and her foot goes in the bucket, she can't actually contaminate it. So she's all hooked up. It does not hurt her. And let's see if I can get an image of the milk actually flowing into the machine. So don't worry about the discoloration here on these tubes. They got a little bit close to our chick incubator and got a little warm and discolored, but it did not damage the tubes. And those are actually somewhat pricey, so we decided to just go with it. I'm hoping that you can see the milk flowing into that bucket. So one of the other complications that we ran into with this was, as I've shared, Annabelle is significantly smaller than any of the other cows we've milked. So the inflations on the machine when I originally bought it were just way too big for her, and we couldn't get proper suction. So I had to go on and order different inflations. Well, come to find out, Surge has multiple different styles of shells, and the inflations that I bought were not for these shells. So then I had to go repurchase inflations again. It has taken us quite some time to get my milk machine up and running, simply because I had to wait on shipping from the milk company. But at the end of the day, it worked out. I've run into lots and lots of challenges with this milk machine. And truth be told, at the end of the day, I prefer hand milking. There's a time and a place for having a milk machine. With Mac, she's so easy to milk, and it takes such a short amount of time. it doesn't make sense to set up the milk machine for Mac. I mean, she's just so easy for us to sit down and within less than 10 minutes, she's milked out. And because her teats are bigger, we would need bigger inflations. I don't want to take the time to change out the inflations. Hi, Joseph. I don't want to take the time to switch out the inflations back and forth. I'll just milk Mac out by hand. And truthfully, with Annabelle, we've been hand milking her for so long that I prefer to hand milk her. We've gotten pretty good at it. We've learned what we needed to learn. But on Sunday, we're getting an additional new cow. She is a first-time mom. She has never been milked. And I think for the training purposes of milking her, and she also has really small teats, I think it's important that I practice with this machine and I get good at it before she gets here. So that's really the main reason that I take the time to set up the machine and come out here every day with Annabelle. She's gotten to where she understands that it's going to take us a while to hand milk her, but she's patient. She just stands here chewing her cud and waiting for us. And hand milking is just my preferred method of milking out my cows. But for a number of reasons, it's going to be wise for us to set up the milk machine for now. Just the process of setting it up, putting everything together, dragging it out here, milking the cow, and then taking it back into the house and having to clean all of the parts really kind of makes it feel like it's not worth it. But I know that when I'm milking 3 cows twice a day, and by the end of this year, it'll be 4 cows twice a day, I'm going to be really thankful for this milk machine. And it opens up options for me to be able to hire on milk hands. It opens up the option for me to hire a farm hand who can come out and help me milk on situations where we're going to go on vacation or we're going to be out of town, or let's say that I fall ill and it would just be easier to hire somebody. The milk machine just does open up a lot of different opportunities for me. So there's still milk coming through. We are learning that as a calf also will come and bump its mom. A calf will come up with its nose and will hit them just like that. That'll actually help get more of her milk out. It is not hurting her. This is exactly what her body is designed to handle. And then if we pull down just a little, this also helps her body release a lot more of the milk. So the goal is to get out as much milk as possible, because any mammal, the more milk that is taken from them, the more they will make. But if you don't take all of the milk, her body will start to think that the baby just doesn't need it, and her body will produce less milk. So we try to get all of it. She has been in lactation for about 7 months, so she's not at a place where her body is going to make more than what it is right now. But we certainly don't want her making any less. There's still milk coming in through those lines, so we're not quite done yet, but you can definitely feel a difference in her bag, and she's much softer and squishier, and she's just so patient with me. She's a good cow to learn on, because I have a feeling the next cow is not going to be as patient. All right, so this tube, I can bump her, I can pull, I can do all the things, and I'm not seeing any more milk. So I'm going to go ahead and cap it off. And then I'm just going to start checking the other lines. She's getting really close to being done. That one's still going. I'm not seeing any more on this one. It's usually her front 2 teats that stop producing first. Her back ones must have been her calves' favorite, because they just seem to produce more. Now, when you go to pull them off, the last thing you want to do is just yank it off of her. I actually put my finger inside the inflation and try to help break the seal, so I'm not just pulling it down. Under no circumstances do I want to cause any damage to her. You can hear the difference. It's got to repressurize again. I'm going to check this one. Now, interestingly enough, I have not found a situation where the milk machine completely empties the cow. I'll still have to go back afterwards and kind of finish stripping out the last little bit that's in there. But we just put that in the cat bowl, and the cat's more than happy with it. Now, so there's still a little bit of milk coming on this one. You'd be amazed at how much, especially moms, will look at this process and just go, ow, that looks so painful. But this is not hurting the cow. A calf is significantly more aggressive with its mom. We're not hurting her one bit. If anything, she's a little bit aggravated by the flies today. The flies are pretty thick. I do have a fly spray that I put on them, but right now it's missing. We had a huge storm come through yesterday, and it may have just blown off into the yard somewhere. So I've got to find that, because we usually spray them down with a homemade fly spray that I make out of essential oils. Now, all inflations. Yeah. Eli turned off my pump. Now I put the milk bowl back underneath her. And I just come back and I make sure that whatever left over in there, I make sure that any of the leftover milk in there gets out, so that her body knows that her calf is still eating it. And that's it. It's as easy as that. I'll take the milk machine inside, filter the milk into jars, put the jars in the freezer to chill them very quickly, and sterilize the milk machine, and it'll be ready for tonight. Got to have my system worked out by Sunday, because on Sunday, a brand new mama cow is coming to the property that I've got to train to milk.